So Gulzar sends out a tweet. My Urdu or my Hindi is not very good, but I'll try and read this out, and maybe Hardeep Puri can help me with the translation. Gulzar tweets, Mr. Puri, थक चुका हूँ मैं मेरी मैयतों से बार बार 84 में मरा संपूर्ण. He's referring to himself because I think his name is Sampuran. 2002 में Gulzar. In other words, he says, I'm tired of seeing this, would you want to translate that, Mr. Phoolka? I think you got that well. What really was he saying? थक चुका हूँ मैं मेरी मैयतों से बार बार 84 में मरा संपूर्ण 2002 में गुलजार. Yes, sir.
It is the human being who are killed. Whether it is Puran or it is Guljar, these are the human beings who are killed.
Yes.
But today I am surprised, and I expected the BJP and the Akali Dal above the petty politics. And when the SIT is about to be appointed, stand together. And not to,
we welcome it.
Since
Mr.
morning
Phoolka,
they have
what are
been
you
saying
talking about?
are doing it for
We
political
welcome
cadre,
it.
doing it for political
We've been shouting from rooftops. We welcome the SIT.
Mr. Phoolka, I thought I was going to do the translation. I haven't even...
Then stand together at least on this issue. Don't say that Kejriwal should resign so that even the SIT is not
considering with you.
Even before appointment he should resign.
Give me the opportunity of welcoming it. Mr. Phoolka, please give me the opportunity of welcoming your decision. Let me say very clearly, that as far as I am concerned, I agree with the advocate and Mr. Phoolka, who's speaking in his personal capacity today. We would not be on News Hour debating this 1984 issue pending for 30 years, but for the explicit acknowledgement 2 days ago of the Vice President of the Congress Party. We welcome that. I also welcome Mr. Sanjay Jha's agreement for the appointment of an SIT. But before I go there, let me welcome the initiative taken by the Chief Minister of Delhi for the establishment of an SIT. We are all on the same page on that.
This initiative was not taken by him. I'm sorry.
I am also willing to go a step further and to say that a mass atrocity like this, if we don't get closure, we are going to have more wounds which are festering. So I don't think, as far as the BJP is concerned, that we don't agree with you or we don't welcome your initiative. But let me also say, the SIT probe has to be court monitored, it has to be time bound. And let me now come to what Mr. Sanjay Jha has been trying to do all along, which his party has been doing for 30 years to derail the process. The comparison of 84 with 2002, apart from being galling, is ridiculous. We have a situation in 1984 when members of the Sikh community were through the use of voter lists, senior leaders of the Congress party leading the mobs, organizing the kerosene and all, doing those things. Now, let us get closure on that. And today we are discussing 1984. And if after all the judicial scrutiny that 2002 has been subjected to, if you're not willing to respect judicial pronouncements, which I think you should do, because if you do not have any finality with judicial pronouncements, you'll have a situation which will be anarchic and a free-for-all. Now, I'm willing to have a separate discussion on 2002 on News Hour, but please, today let us celebrate that all of us, the Congress included, has accepted that there should be an SIT, and let us also agree that this should be court monitored and time bound.
And also in the meantime, Sanjay Jha, that all the people facing investigation for heinous crimes should be either suspended temporarily from the Congress party, removed from all official positions, right? Leave alone be renominated in key positions and handle key states. Because when you do so, you seem to be insulting the intelligence of the people of this country and also pouring salt on the wounds of the victims of 1984. Remember this, Mr. Sanjay Jha, as you can willingly respond right now to Hardeep Singh Puri, that Manish Tiwari in December 2013 said, I think no apology, no expression of remorse changes the reality that thousands of people were massacred. He was talking of Gujarat. There has to be some justice. I do not think that an apology or expression of regret or remorse substitutes for closure. that it substitutes for justice. The fundamental bottom line, Manish Tiwari said, is that there has been no justice in Gujarat even after 11 years. There has been no justice, Sanjay Jha. In 1984, after 3 decades, right? And as somebody who was a schoolboy in Delhi, in 1984, I too am asking you tonight, why does your sense of justice evaporate when it comes to 1984? And do you think that by conflicting 1984 with 2002, you will be able to balance the equation? Mr. Jha?
Arnab, I'm surprised.
Mr. Jha,
I'm surprised as
I have quoted your Congress leader.
Research journalist. No, 1 minute. As someone who's such a well-researched journalist, how are you not able to tell the viewers of the Newshour that the difference between Gujarat and 1984 is as clear as daylight? And the difference is that the government of Gujarat abetted what happened in 2002. The government of Gujarat allowed it to happen. Mr. Narendra Modi looked away when it happened, and that is equally an act of guilt.
In 84, you did it.
The police undertook firing.
One at a time. Hardeep Puri, one at a time. Hardeep Puri, one at a time. Hardeep Puri is taking out Sanjay Jha, one at a time. Hardeep Puri and Sanjay Jha.
Mr. Jha, you do yourself great disservice. You do yourself great disservice. In Gujarat, the police opened fire in which 300 people died. In Delhi, the police were absent. It is only many years later that the police commissioner then was indicted in a report. So I'm afraid it is in Delhi that the then Home Minister stood by. You allowed 3 days of orgy of violence to take place, whereas in Gujarat they took action and a cabinet minister is indicted, is in prison on charges of murder. What have you done in Delhi? Has any single congressman been brought to justice, including those who your vice president says?
Mr. Puri, you don't know your facts, Mr. Puri, and I'm going to quote to you the Chief Justice
Mr. Jha, I am schooled in facts. I am schooled in facts, and I don't believe in distorting facts. You on the other hand, are doing disservice to yourself.
Mr. Khare, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, has gone on record to say that Mr. Narendra Modi, for an act of genocide,
Mr. Narendra Modi has been cleared of all the scrutiny, including by the SIT, which is the Supreme Court. So don't deflect the fact. You know,
it is not a clean chit. It is not a clean chit.
It is an absolute clean chit. It's a different thing that you do not respect judicial pronouncements, and you go on harping on the same thing again and again to deflect it. Let me tell you, you will regret that.
Mr. Jha, 1 minute.
Let us have a separate discussion on 2000.
Mr. Jha, I am asking you. I think I am really very sorry today. Very, very sorry today.
You need to be.
Because Mr. Jha, I'll tell you this. Mr. Jha.
And in fact, you have a very difficult brief to defend.
No, Mr. Jha.
Your own vice president has disowned your party.
Mr. Jha, 1 minute, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, 1 minute. 1 minute, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, can I have your indulgence for a minute? Please understand this, Mr. Jha. Understand the pain that people experience, okay?
Absolutely.
Now, let me tell you, for a generation of Indians, because Mr. Rahul Gandhi is not the only generation of Indians, or not the only one in that generation. There are generations of Indians which include yours truly as well, who have seen 2 incidents and 3 incidents tear apart the fabric of this country. 1984, 2002, and what happened when the Babri Masjid came down. And therefore, Mr. Jha, you remember this, that your Prime Minister, who Rahul Gandhi says he still has faith in, you go check your facts, you question me on fact, none of my facts are wrong. Is it true or not that your Prime Minister on the floor of Parliament in August 2005 had said that the truth hadn't come out even after 21 years following the killings? But the action taken report on the government, on the findings of the Nanavati Commission report the same year, gave an indication that you were not really keen on the truth emerging. You consider what your action taken report said about Jagdish Titler and Sanjay Kumar, even though the Nanavati Commission found a compelling case against them vis-a-vis their involvement in 1984, your government gave a clean chit to both. You were nominating them to Parliament. I'm questioning your sincerity tonight, Mr. Jha. I am questioning your sincerity tonight, Mr. Jha.
Doesn't give clean chits, Arnab.
I am questioning your sincerity tonight, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, if you feel justice has been done, why did you tell me you are open to an SIT inquiry? Let's not have an SIT inquiry.
Well, let me tell you, the CBI case is on. Hopefully justice will be delivered. You cannot make anybody convicted until the processes of the law are finally...
Naresh Gujral wants to come in.
Conclusion. All we are repeating is, if the SIT is a...
Naresh Gujral now.
So be it. I think as a party, whether it's Gujarat or Delhi or Muzaffarnagar or any other act of communal violence, some of it is happening in Rajasthan right now, all of them need to be investigated and got to the bottom of. I'm glad on that all of us are on the same page.
Mr. Sanjay Jha, Mr. Sanjay Jha, understand. Mr. Jha,
so much of angst in you.
Mr. Jha, there is no angst. Don't. Mr. Jha, understand the fact. You understand what the government's action taken report said.
Obfuscate by putting all those issues in one basket and trying to lose the central tenet of this whole thing.
We are simply asking one thing. Why do you need an investigation?
Mr. Puri, you were in government in NDA for 6 years.
Okay.
Why didn't you do an SIT at the point of time when the BJP was in power? You were in the NCR of Delhi before
it was only when
government. What were you doing there?
It was only when Shri Madan Lal Khurana was the Chief Minister of Delhi that you got some forward movement. Yeah. I mean...
No, please answer my question, Mr. Puri. Where were you for 6 years between 1998 and 2004 when there was a BJP-led NDA? Why didn't you do an SIT at that point of time? Are you scared because there are some RSS lumpen elements who will also be investigated and found guilty? Speak up, Mr. Puri.
No, I am not bothered at all about your looking at what the NDA government did or did not do. You know, there have been several committees appointed, and when Shri Madan Lal Khurana was the Chief Minister, you got some forward movement. Every time there was evidence against 3 of these stalwarts that you named, before we could get anything further, you would derail it. I mean, if we had continued in power beyond those 6 years, we would have had a different result. In any case, please try and redeem yourself by trying to do something in the next 4 months. Now that you have agreed to an SIT, why don't we all work together in a spirit of cooperation along with the Aam Aadmi Party, the Akali Dal, the BJP, and let's get closure on this mass atrocity. Because if you don't, it will come to haunt you. Your Prime Minister and our Prime Minister now, the present Prime Minister, had to tender an apology within a month or 2 of the Nanavati Commission. What is the value of that if the victims of the whole thing don't get justice?
Don't tell me, Mr. Sanjay Jha. Mr. Jha, I am willing now, I'm challenging you. I am willing to call up a person called Ved Marwa, then you'll embarrass you. Okay? Don't tell me we want justice. The Marwa Commission was the first commission set up. As Ved Marwa completed his inquiry, it was the middle of the year 1985. He was abruptly directed by the Home Ministry not to proceed further. Who was in power? And which party was in power in 1985, sir? Let's call up right now. Let's call up Ved Marwa right now. Let's ask him.
Yeah, you took everything away except his handwritten notes. Please listen to what Mr. Marwa has to say.
After that, the Ranganath Mishra Committee, you tell me justice, Ranganath Mishra Committee appointed May 1985. He submitted his report in February 1987. And then he said, it is not part of my terms of reference to identify any person, and recommended the formation of 3 committees. I mean, what the hell were you doing to form a committee and you don't have to identify a person? Who was in power? Who was in power in 1987 when this committee was formed? Who set up its terms of reference? I challenge you tonight. Well, tell me, Mr. Jha.
And
if you really
who's
go
in power
through all
today?
the commissions, let me
missing charge sheet for 22
there have
years.
Been many commissions. There have been many committees formed. Investigations have taken their course. Witnesses, etc., have been called in. Now there were accusations that the Delhi police was not doing it in a fair manner.
The Jain Banerjee Committee, the Jain Banerjee Committee, recommended by the Mishra Committee sets up committee. consists of Justice M.L. Jain, former judge of the Delhi High Court, and Mr. Banerjee, retired IGP. Committee recommended registration of cases against Sajjan Kumar in August 97. No case was registered. No case was registered. Who was in power?
The Kapoor Mittal Committee.
Who was in power?
The Kapoor Mittal Committee, which gave its report in February 87, indicted, named 72 police officers. 72 police officers. It recommended that 30 of them should be dismissed forthwith. And your government wound that up, didn't allow them to proceed.
Now I have Mr. Ved Marwa on the phone line.
You have
Let's
been
get
playing
the truth out
football
tonight.
for 30 years. Please,
Ved
in
Marwa,
your own interest, get closure on this.
Ved Marwa, good evening.
I want you in the years that you are out of power.
Ved Marwa, good evening. Arnab, Goswami, are we having a heated debate? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Hello.
So we are having a heated debate. Can you hear me, sir?
I can't hear your voice. If you can talk slowly, I'll be able to hear.
Yeah, I'll ask you the questions. I'll ask it slowly.
Yeah.
I just have one question for you, sir, because we are debating what's been going on in 1984.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, sir, that the Marwa Commission was appointed. You were then Additional Commissioner of Police.
That's right.
And you were given the job of inquiring into the role of the police during this carnage.
That's right.
Now, many of the accused officers of the Delhi police went to the court, Mr. Marwa?
You know, I was given 3 months to complete the inquiry.
Right.
I had collected all the documents, examined quite a few witnesses, and just when I was about to complete, my inquiry was aborted, and I was asked in writing by the commissioner to stop the inquiry.
By whom?
And hand over all the documents
By
to
whom?
Justice
By
Mishra.
whom? By whom, Mr. Marwa?
He must have received orders from the Home Ministry, but I got the written order from the commissioner.
There you are. One minute. So, one sec. Ved Marwa, stay on the line. Sanjay Jha, an honest police officer, is live tonight. He was doing his job. When he was completing the inquiry, he's told, don't complete your job. Don't proceed further.
And I collected a lot of documentary evidence which showed that the police had not done its job properly.
And why did the police not do its job properly, Mr. Marwa?
You know, according to the police rules, whenever the police leaves the police station for any duty or comes back, entries are recorded in the daily diary. It's a regulation which they have to do. Now, on that day, there are a number of calls in the Central Police Control Room which show what is happening in the city. And yet, there was no movement of the police force from those affected police stations to this trouble spot.
Right.
And there was no explanation why that was so.
Mr. Marwa, I thank you. I know it's late, and I did call you today without any intimation. So I'm sorry for...
It's always a pleasure talking to you, Arnab.
Thank you, Mr. Marwa. There you are.
Now, if I can point out...
No, there you are. No, I just want to know from Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, you know what you just said, justice. What is this justice? Protecting police officers who allow riots to happen, justice?
In fact, I can tell you, Arnab, what I'm so glad you got Mr. Marwa on the call, because let me tell you, the then Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, himself was very distressed with the way the police worked.
I don't care about distress.
Which is why he called the army in.
I don't care about distress.
Which is why he called the army in, and within...
Last one! Naresh Gujral raises his hand. Naresh Gujral.
Naresh
Gujral.
Naresh
Gujral. No, Naresh Gujral. Naresh Gujral.
350 people were killed in Trilokpuri over a 72-hour period. Whether it is the army or the police, no one came.
Mr. Puri.
The police stayed in the police station. The army must have done a flag march.
Puri.
And over a 72-hour period, 350 people in two narrow lanes
Mr. Puri.
in Trilokpuri were killed.
Mr. Puri, Naresh Gujral is also responding to Sanjay Jha. 1 minute on the Newshour Debate. Mr. Gujral. Mr. Gujral.
Arnab, I'd like to repeat that while the congressmen were killing the poor Sikhs on the streets of Delhi, people like Mr. I.K. Gujral, Air Marshal Arjun Singh, Lieutenant General Arora went repeatedly to the Home Minister, beseeching him to call the army out. But for 3 days,
Okay,
did not call
now,
the army out.
That's the point tonight.
Why did they not call the army out?
I say open it up.
Whose orders were they?
I open it up. I'm saying this tonight, this is an incomplete debate. This is an incomplete debate tonight. And as I thank my guests, I'm only going to say one thing. Is it time to reopen 1984? And is it time to stop riot versus riot in this country? Tell me what you think. Sanjay Jha, Hardeep Puri, Naresh Gujral and Mr. Phoolka, I acknowledge this is an incomplete debate. Only for want of time, I'm wrapping it up. And I look forward to extending this debate tomorrow and seeing you on the Newshour tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Pleasure being with you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, good night and goodbye.